Hi and welcome to Top Tips Tuesday again. This week's tip is for those looking to buy their first home and 5 mistakes that we definitely want to avoid. I know it's very exciting, your first home, all you want to do is jump in the car and go and look at homes and think about putting yourself into that property, but there is some really key things that you need to get right. So number one is not considering additional expenses. We talk about that in terms of the purchasing cost. So as well as buying the property, there's additional costs, things like stamp duty, things like legal fees, things like lender's mortgage insurance, and they can all add up. So the good thing about a finance specialist that understands the market for first home buyers can actually add those figures in and make sure you've got enough funds, because not always you can borrow for those funds. So sometimes those funds have to be on top of your cash deposit. So always ask the lender at the time of the application how much are those costs going to be, and have we allowed for that in the calculations. Number two is skipping the home inspection. So whether it's a brand new property or existing property, myself, I've always paid for professional third-party property inspections. The reason for that is twofold. So they're independent, so they're looking at it from a professional point of view. They're not saying, oh, that's okay. Also, when it comes to rectifying these defects, if though you've got a professional report that you can provide to the other party, it's not just he said versus she said, it's actual facts, and they know the building codes, they know what's acceptable. A good building inspector will also have a bit of an understanding of those defects. You know, can they be rectified? Roughly, what are the costs? Is it something to be concerned about? If it's a major defect, they'll quite often recommend that we get another specialist in. And just be aware with building inspections, they generally don't cover electrical or plumbing as well. So if you've got an older property and the building inspector has raised concerns about plumbing and electrical, I would suggest you get one of those inspectors in as well. Also can help in the negotiation process. Also important to be aware of that if there's some serious maintenance issues involved, you need to understand those costs. Can you afford to rectify those defects if they're structural or things like major electrical or plumbing? Number three is being too emotionally involved. I know it's exciting. I still get excited looking at properties for myself and my clients, but we really need to step back, take the emotion out of it, and basically look at the numbers. Had a very good case just recently looking at a property for a home buyer stepping up to another property. The presentation of this property was superb, absolutely spectacular, fully renovated. However, it was well above the market average in the area. In fact, it was the highest price property that I'd seen sell in well over the highest price sale over the last 12 months. So that was really buying over and above, I believe, true market value. Again, emotionally went in, home buyer, great. But you don't want to overpay for the property, especially in this current market where it's a bit, we've seen some fluctuations in the price point, so you want to be buying at or below market value. So again, having an expert that can understand those property reports and justify that, don't just buy an emotion. Number four is not getting a pre-approval for a mortgage. Very important. Again, before you get excited, before you inspect homes, you really need to speak to a finance specialist. You don't have to have a bank pre-approval in place, but you do have to have at least a finance specialist look at it, your financials, and assess your borrowing capacity and give you the facts. So not just a verbal bit of information, but they have to look at all your incomes, all your loans, all your outgoings, all your spending habits, and a good finance specialist will actually be able to give you a very good idea of your borrowing capacity. And if you can get a letter from that lender or that finance specialist, that'll really help you when you go into the negotiation process, as well as give the other party confidence that you've done your homework and you can, more than likely get the finance approved. So even a bank pre-approved letter will still be subject to a property valuation. So that's why it's not always necessarily, but definitely a pre-approval letter by the broker will definitely help your position. And number five, getting good advice from professionals. Again, we've all heard the stories about being at the barbecue. A lot of our friends and family have got best intentions, but really their opinion can be quite biased. So just because they don't buy in an area, they might put you off from buying a property. So you sit on the fence and you might have missed out the best opportunity. So and take advice from people that are in the property market, that have bought and sold, seen good markets, bad markets, etc. So don't be biased on family or friends, because really the property is based on the numbers. And again, that's where having independent property valuations, reports, comparable sales is much more valuable. So I hope that's helped. Good luck. I know it's a great time to get into your own home, much better than paying rent. So look forward to seeing you in your own property. Thanks for watching and see you next Tuesday.